begun. How are we for time? Ooh, we could have 3 parts out of this. But, I'm too curious. Let's continue. I'd slept like a log the night before, but I still felt sick. I thought about taking the day off, but I didn't have a high fever or cough. It didn't really feel like I had a cold, so I decided to chance it and come to school. However, I noticed that Coco's seat was empty. Her seat was a knight's move in front and to the left of mine. What, are we playing chess now? She had loved that seat. I remember our first day of seniors. Flashback. Spring break was over, happy music all of a sudden, and it was the first day of the new school year. And talk about a switch in the mood. It had I had just moved into Sakura-san's house. I checked the bulletin board to see which class I was in. The first thing I saw when I entered the classroom was Coco's smile. Coco walked up to me with a big excited smile. Hey! I realized right away that we were in the same class again. I feel like someone is doing this intentionally. 9 years? Yeah, that's great. I am excited. Can't you hear the passion welling up from my heart? And then everyone else is like, sorry to interrupt, I know we're NPCs. Well, everyone's an NPC, nobody's a playable character, but you get the idea, we're background characters. Actually, we're not even background characters, we have no names, no voice actors, and rarely even get any lines at all. We are your old classmates. Give us some attention, you bastard! Oh man, you guys are all in my class? Really? I did, but I only saw my name and the class number. I didn't check who else was in my class. Anzu pointed out Wataru and Suganami, who were talking with some guys in the corner of the room. They waved at me when they saw me. Suganami and Wataru. It was shaping up to be an interesting year. So I, Maya, entered the classroom as we spoke. Yeah, the look on her face, just like, God, of all the classes, why? What did I do for this? Hey, class president, you're in my class too? Yet. But you will be, I'm sure you'll take the title again this year, right, Coco? Well, as the problem students of Kasami Academy, I hope they'll get along, class president. Her voice cracked as she yelled at us, then took her seat. She's so scary. That's because that's what protagonists do. I don't mean to tease her. By the way, where am I sitting? Wow, that's going to be a challenging spot. Woo! Okay. Woo! Where's your seat, Coco? Just tell me. I thought that was a guy's seat. I checked the seating chart on the podium. Her seat was in the front of that one.
いことはいいじゃない。それより気づいたことない？
Huh? She tilted her head and looked at me. However, I didn't see anything that stood out.
実は私もさっき気づいたんだけどね。今年で義行の席の周りをぐるりと一周回ったことになるんだよ。
Huh? I didn't understand what she was talking about.
去年は義行の左隣だったでしょ。で、1年生の時は義行の斜め後ろだったじゃない。
Were you?
そうだよ。覚えてないの？
Sort of, but not that clearly.
もう、その前の年は義行の真後ろだったもん。今年でぐるーっと時計回りに一周したことになるんだよ。これってすごくない？
I hadn't noticed the pattern, but now that I thought about it, Coco's seat had always been close to mine. That really was pretty amazing now that I thought about it.
腰巾着もここまで来るとどうにいったもので。
Stalking from every direction.
ハンズー、そんな言い方しないでよ。すごいすごい。まるでお月様みたいだね。きっと運命だよ。運命は言い過ぎだよ。でも偶然もここまで来るとすごいよね。
I agree.
そうなると本校に進んだらココちゃんは義行くんの前の席になるわけだね。そういうこと。まあ義行が本校に進学した場合の話に限るけどね。義行、他の学校に進学しちゃうの？
I wasn't planning on it.
なんだ、びっくりさせないでよね、ハンズ。私は別に義行が他の学校に行くとは一言も言ってないわ。そうだけど。
Just don't listen to everything that Andrew says.
だって。いいじゃない。そこがココちゃんのいいところなんだから。
Whatever, anyway, I look forward to another year together with you, Coco.
うん、よろしくね、義行。
Coco had the biggest smile that day. She seemed happier to be diagonally in front of me than she would have been beside me. That smile was burned into my mind. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Coco. We now return to the usual fields. Shima! Shima! She's not here. The teacher's voice brought me back to the present.
はーい、今朝電話がありました。ココちゃんは体調を崩したので休むそうです。
Akane raised her hand and told the teacher. Okay, next Hiroshima. You're the closest we've got to a Shima in this class now. So, that's whatever. She was sick at home? Was it because of what I told her yesterday? Gee, think it couldn't be. Coco was going out with Wataru. It shouldn't have anything to do with me. Huh? I realized that Wataru was looking at me. He looked at Coco's empty seat and then at me again. There was something sad and angry in his eyes. Huh? Wataru called out to me right after homeroom ended. What's with you all of a sudden? Wataru left the room without another word. He seemed so serious, unlike his usual joking self. What could it be? My body felt heavy, but I forced it out of my seat and headed for the roof. I pushed open the door to the roof. The door squeaked as it opened, and the cold air stung my cheek. I saw Wataru standing in front of me. He was quietly looking up at the sky. He slowly walked over to him. I slowly walked over to him. What do you want? He looked at me as I called him. Wataru fidgeted. He looked really uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm fine. I lied. Actually, I felt extremely sick. All I wanted was to go home that very moment and go to sleep. We had a moment of silence, and then Wataru opened his mouth, determined to speak.
お前さ、お前、白川と付き合うことにしたって。
I nodded quietly. Wataru's body began to tremble immediately.
なんでだよ。
Well, I don't think he said what the fuck exactly. You could barely ring out the
お
words.
前、月島のことが好きだったんじゃないのかよ。
He said, Huh? What was he talking about? Why should I have to hear that from him of all people? He was dating her now after all. It's not like it's possibly the biggest misunderstanding ever. Well, to be fair, there was nothing really to indicate that it wasn't the case from his perspective. So he isn't at complete fault. Wataru and Koko were going out, so it's kind of understandable that he misunderstands. So why?
答えろよ、義行。
Why should I have to answer to him?
お前、月島のこと好きだって言ったの、あれ嘘だったのかよ。
I wasn't lying, I was serious about her.
だったら、なんでお前白川と付き合ってんだよ。
Wataru grabbed me by the collar. He was seriously pissed off at me. It's time for a brawl! But why? Let me go.
は？
You guys are dating, aren't you?
は？
You and Coco. I saw you guys hugging each other the other day. You're going at it with Coco. I lost and you won. And so, I decided to be with Nanaka. Do you have a problem with that? I could hear Wataru sucking in breath. Then there was a sudden heat on my face. I collapsed on my back. It took me a moment to register what had happened. Ouch. Wataru had punched me in the face. The inside of my mouth tasted like iron. The blow must have cut the inside of my cheek. What? What the hell do you do that for?
何尻餅ついてんだよ。立てよ。もう一発殴ってやるからよ。
Oh, come on, clear up the misunderstanding, for crying out loud. Why, you! I stood up and started throwing punches over Taru's face. My fist drove straight into his cheek. This time Wataru was the one knocked over. What are you talking about? You're the one who punched me.
お前が悪いんだろうが。
What? I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't understand him at all. You know, he really doesn't understand him at all. Could we clear this freaking thing up already? Punching's not gonna do anything.
俺は月島と付き合ってなんかねえんだよ。
Huh?
What?
Cold it. Okay, don't ruin the mood.
俺はな、やれたんだ。
Was it a kind of like, I'm sorry Wataru hug then, or what? My body seized. She rejected him? Then why were they holding each other?
月島はお前のことが好きなんだよ。
You're lying.
どうだ。
Then why were you...
あいつ、家の事情で付属卒業したら島を離れなくちゃいけなくなって、このままお前に告白しないまま島を去ろうかどうしようって。俺は相談受けてただけで。
Hold on, wait a sec. Did you say she's leaving the island?
月島の親父が単身赴任なの知ってるだろ。それで付属の卒業を機に家族揃って親父の元で住むことになったんだってよ。
What's that all about? She never told me anything.
言えるわけねえだろ。月島のあの性格だぜ。
It's seriously, man. Like I said, all this could have been just like all resolved if a character would just for once explain shit to this dense idiot.
それに白川もお前のことが好きだってあいつ知ってるから。白川のことは大切な親友って思ってる。でもお前のことも好きだし、島を離れなくちゃいけないし、 もうどうしていいのかわからなくなったんだよ。
Well, join the club! My head started spinning. I mean, he's been confused all along here. Coco was going to leave Hatsune Island after graduation because of her father's work? Oh no.
俺はそのことずっと月島本人から相談されてて、
Couldn't have dropped a hint to him? Nothing?
このままお前に思いを告げずに消えた方がいいかなって。その方がお前も白川も幸せかなって。お前と白川がくっついた方が幸せかなって。
Coco.
それなのになんでお前は白川と付き合ったりしてるんだよ。
I know it's kind of ruining the mood, but seriously, with all the, well, the little amount of... I mean, what did they expect to happen? They just like, Yoshiyuki comes across that, they don't bother to approach him and say, no man, you got it all wrong, misunderstanding. No, they just let it, like, develop over time, confuse him more. You could have just...
月島がどれだけ悩んでいたか。お前
I don't know, it's just irritating me. I couldn't say anything. I mean, come the Forget it. Wataru sat down on the ground as though standing were a great effort. He looked up at the sky. A chill wind passed between us. Why isn't he saying something like, why the fuck didn't you tell me then? You could have cleared up the misunderstanding ages ago. Granted, he didn't mention about the hug bit. He didn't mention he actually saw that. So, I suppose it is kind of his fault after all, but still, could have dropped a hint. I mean, Coco was distancing herself for quite some time and all that, and was seen with Wataru in a kind of private, intimate way. What did you expect him to think?
バカだよな俺。
You both are.
自分の好きなやつにそんなこと相談されてさ。俺月島のこと好きなのにさ、ずっと好きだったのにさ、背中押してんだぜ。そんなことでいいのか。ちゃんと思いを伝えようぜってさ。義行と月島なら絶対うまくいくから頑張ろうぜって葉っぱかけて応援してんだぜ。
Wataru.
何やってんだよ俺は。
I didn't know what to say to him. Wataru was encouraging her to confess to me despite his own feelings. He knew that Coco and I might start dating because of his advice, but he encouraged her nonetheless. So if anything, it's due to misunderstanding and Coco never quite getting around to actually confessing. That kind of, like, led to the misunderstanding to escalate to this point. But what was I doing? I clenched my hand into a tight fist. Sorry. I had no idea. He literally did, he had no idea. So sorry.
俺に謝っても仕方ないだろ。
I feel bad for you and Coco and Naka. I've done awful things to you all. That's right. What I did was so wrong. It's like he's taking the full blame. I mean, it's understandably misunderstood. One, he's dense, and the situations that he found himself in kind of added to his belief that they must have been dating. I mean, just This is one of the few times where I'm somewhat siding with Yoshiyuki instead of just be like, nope, he's an idiot. Just like, it's understandable in that case. I knew that I loved Coco, but I was happy to use Nanako as a rebound. That sounds dickish. I'm a real idiot. Called it. I called it. I said earlier on that by the end of this, he's going to realize, oh my god, I'm an idiot. And there it is. I remember how Akane and Anzu took me out to eat in the school cafeteria. They had known all about it. The three of them were such good friends. They knew that Coco was leaving the island. They knew that Coco loved me. But nobody told you a damn thing. They knew everything. But in my ignorance, I had taken their kindness for granted.
行けよ。
Tom,
早く月島のそばに行ってやってくれよ。俺じゃダメなんだよ。あいつ、お前が来るのを待ってるんだよ。頼むよ。これ以上月島を悲しませないでくれ。
he was about to cry.
月島のことを。
That's right. He's right. I had to stop doing things to hurt Coco. And I had to talk with Nanaka. I had to tell her the truth. I had to reveal it all. Wow, this is just gonna screw everything up, really, isn't it? Just like, Nanaka, I know we're dating and all, but sorry, I still love Coco, no hard feelings, right? It was going to be hard, but I had brought this upon myself. Well, I mean, the misunderstandings, I just can't get over it, man. The whole way the plot developed is just... I mean, I knew it was obvious that it was obviously a misunderstanding, but he's not gonna think that, is he? Okay, I'll talk to Nanaka too. Then I'll go and get Coco. Heck, if I was in this situation, I'd probably misunderstand as well. I bowed low to Wataru and left the roof. I heard Wataru's anguished scream behind me. Here come the feels. I was standing in front of Nanaka's hospital room. My body was so tense, my leg ached because of the awkward way I was sitting. Much better. My body was so tense I could barely move. I had let her believe I was her boyfriend. She had trusted me. Well, you were never sure of it in the first place. It was pretty forced. She was in there looking forward to seeing me. The moment I opened that door, she would be waiting for me with a big smile. Somehow I kind of have a kind of doubt. But I was only there for her because of a lie. I had only agreed to be with her because my heart was broken. I had agreed to be with her because it helped me to run away. I was about to tell her everything and break up with her once and for all. It was all a lie. I never wanted to go out with her from the beginning. Honestly, I think she kind of knew. I mean, like when she was like, sort of, when referring to the relationship or somewhat or something like that. Because she was obviously like, yeah, he's clearly not really, his heart isn't in there really, is it? I had to tell her the truth that Coco was the only person I loved. I'm a horrible person, but I brought this upon myself. Every time he says that, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you have your fault in all this, but come on, the misunderstandings were ridiculous. Although it would have helped, actually confront them about it instead of, just be like, well, fuck it, I'm not gonna try to confirm this. Going through this will be my penance. It was something I would just have to do. I took a deep breath. I took several more as I continued to glare at the door. I opened the door to Nanaka's room. Nanaka looked up from the bed. She seemed surprised to see me. Yep, called it. Her face was contorted as if on the verge of tears. Did she already know that it was what I was about to tell her? My heart ached.
Yoshiyuki-kun, どうしよう。私。
Nanaka murmured anxiously, her eyes fixed upon me. But she realized that something was wrong with me too, and her eyes went wide in shock.
どうしたの？ほっぺた腫れてるよ。それに血も。誰かに殴られたの？
Hey, yeah, Wataru did.
どうして？
Nanaka's voice dropped after she got out the words. Her expression told me that she realized something bad was about to happen. Nanaka, I need to talk to you.
やだ。
What?
やだよ。
Tanaka?
聞かないよ。
Her voice was halfway to crying.
嫌な予感がするの。義行くんの口から聞きたくないよ。どうしてこんな時に。
Her voice choked off, but I still had to tell her. I knew that I would hurt her feelings, but if I didn't tell her the truth, then I would only be betraying her further. Please, listen to me.
やだよ。ひどいよ、義行くん。私に悲しいお話をするんでしょ。なんで今日なの？なんで今なの？ねえ、どうして？
Tanaka covered her ears and violently shook her head. There was a silence between us. I stared straight into Tanaka's face and she continued to cover her ears. What?
悲しい話なんでしょ。
I nodded slowly. Tanaka watched me from the corner of her eyes, then immediately shut them tightly. I did something horrible to you. I don't know how to say this. I walked over to her and held her hands. I thought you were so far above me that I could never reach you. I felt lucky just to be your friend. Never even dreamed that you might become my girlfriend.
今付き合ってるじゃない。夢じゃないよ。これ現実だよ。
I know, but how can I explain? It was a lie. Tanaka closed her eyes. It was obviously the last thing she'd ever wanted to hear. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't sure if I should say any more to tell her how I truly felt. So far I'd already hurt Coco and Wataru, and now I was hurting Tanaka as well.
それで
Tanaka's voice trembled, but she was still asking me to continue. I bit my lips.
私は偽りじゃないよ。本気だよ。
She looked me right in the eyes.
私はずっと義行くんのことが好きで。
I know.
分かってて。どうして？
The silence between us was painful. I screwed up my determination and told her my honest feelings. I'm in love with Coco. It was extremely difficult, but I told Tanaka how I truly felt. I was so happy that you became my girlfriend, and I wasn't even sure if I deserved it. But every time I saw you and every time I talked with you, something didn't feel right. I knew this wasn't what I'd been hoping for. I thought maybe I had made a big mistake, like I had done something awful to you. When Wataru hit me, everything became clear. Coco was the girl I love. I knew that even though I tried my hardest to forget. Nanaka remained quiet as she listened to me. I'm so sorry, Nanaka. I bowed deeply to her. I said it. I knew it was selfish and I wasn't even sure if I had gotten through to her. But my feelings weren't going to change. I couldn't lie to her anymore. Because I was in love with Coco. I closed my eyes and waited for Nanaka to get mad.
流れてこないよ。義行くんの本当の気持ちが。
I'm telling you how I really feel. I looked her in the eyes as I made my declaration. Right now, it was the only sincere thing I could do. I might be selfish, but this was the only way I could think of. A long, awkward silence continued between us. It was a very long silence. Suddenly, Nanaka broke through the quiet.
分かった。信じる。そうだよね。あれだけココのことを思ってた義行くんだもんね。
Her voice was bright and cheerful. She gave me the biggest smile she could muster. I knew that it was only a false smile. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. It had only been for a few days, but she had been my girlfriend. But we couldn't stay together. I still loved Nanaka as a friend. That's why I couldn't betray her. I couldn't keep lying to myself.
ああ、同じ人に2回も振られちゃった。
Nanaka tried to make a joke.
今度はうまくいくかなって思ってたんだけど、いや、叶わないな、ここには。
Nanaka. She continued smiling, her eyes full of tears.
本当言うとね、義行くんの気持ち、全部わかってたんだ。病院に来てくれる義行くんの姿を見ながら、毎日感じてた。でもね、だからこそ、苦しんでる義行くんの支えになれたらなって思ってたんだけど。ああ、失っちゃったな、何もかも。
Her soft words were carried off in the air. I remained quiet, not knowing what to say. Nanaka spoke to me gently.
痛かったでしょ、ほっぺた。
Her words remind me of the pain in my cheek. It really did hurt. But I was sure it was nothing compared to the pain I had caused on Naka, Wataru, and Coco.
板橋くん不器用だもんね。義行くんは何も悪くないのに手が出ちゃうんだから。
Kind of typical guy stuff, isn't it? You idiot! She rubbed my cheek as if she was handling something fragile. It was all my fault. I should have been more honest. You should have freaking tried to find out rather than just kind of be like, well, that's it then, I guess. So yes.
そんなことないよ。だって義行くんも知らなかったんでしょ。
Indeed.
ここの事情も何もかも。何も言ってないことを棚にあげて殴っちゃうんだもん。許せない。
Wow. I kind of agree there. It's just like, surely they should have known, man. Just like, just imagine now, just sitting down, just like, Yoshiyuki and Nanaka were just like, no, Yoshiyuki, you may be a dense, complete idiot, and it is kind of your fault and all, but you didn't know any better. I mean, you saw that. You could have, like, tried to figure it out, you know, ask a question and try to figure it out instead of just accepting it for what you thought it was from the misunderstanding, but it was a misunderstanding, you see. And because it was never cleared until you got punched the fuck in the face by Wataru, so you didn't really know what was going on. Tanaka.
なんちゃって。
She smiled again. She was trying to make me feel better, but it just made it all the more painful.
もう何ぼさってしてるの、義行くん。
What?
早くココのところに行ってあげなよ。
Tanaka.
私はね、もう過ぎたことにくよくよしたりしないんだ。
There is one thing I wonder, though. The cherry trees. And the characters. Nanaka, to be exact. I wonder if that's what was, yes, at the start. Of course, the problem with whenever I vaguely reference it like that, I don't actually say what I'm talking about. It's just kind of vague, isn't it? Because I'm just like, yeah, Nanaka's right, we've been through that. I know it, like, all about what I'm referencing. By not actually saying anything, I'm just keeping it kind of vague. In case anyone who stumbles upon these parts before that, you know, to avoid spoilers.
義行くんとはこれからもずっとずっといいお友達でいたいから。
I couldn't talk at all. I hurt so much, but she was still being nice to me.
ほら、早く行きなよ。ココ、きっと待ってるよ。
Sorry, Nanaka.
もういいって謝らなくたって。それより、私を2回も振って ココとくっつくんだからね。何があってもココを大事にしないと怒るよ。
Got it. There's one last thing though. Pat on the head. Always gotta do that. Nanaka's eyes were straightforward and serious. A single tear welled up in the corner. She quickly tried to hide it. She tried to hide so hard to hide her tears so that I wouldn't feel any worse. Her kindness overwhelmed me. I didn't know how to comfort her, but I wanted to do something. I reached out my hand to her. No.
それじゃあね。またね。
She turned her head away and waved goodbye to me. There was nothing more I could do for her. Trying would only hurt her more. Both Wataru and Nanaka want me to see Coco. That was the best thing to do right now. Thank you, Nanaka. Don't worry, Nanaka. There is still an alternative route that we'll go through. I bowed my head to her once again, opened the door and left the hospital.
頑張るんだよ。
I heard the voice right before I closed the door. It was Nanaka's voice. It was trembling and soft and encouraging me to the bitter end. Overtime. 2 bloody hours, man! Well, sure, we're pretty much right at the end of this route now, I imagine, but I'm gonna call it a part here. I was just like, I don't want to end recording where there's still a lot of questions up in the air, because it just seems too vague. I wanted some damn answers before stopping the recording myself, you know? So, see you next time, viewers. See you next time.